Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Mount Pleasant Wednesday night devotional. We are unfortunately not able to have in-person service this week, and we've got several families that are battling sickness, COVID, flu, different colds, and things like that. And so it's been kind of a rough week in that regard. Please pray for our church family. And we are definitely praying for our community and this surrounding area, praying for all of our frontline workers as the COVID numbers have begun to spike again, and just making sure that we're just trying to be safe. We never want to be a part of the problem. We always want to be very wise and use our best judgment when it comes to trying to help with this already tough situation. So hope you're doing well tonight. I hope you and your family are having an awesome 2022 so far. I know it's been kind of a crazy and amazing week so far, and we're looking forward to this weekend. Brother Eric Sisk is going to be preaching for us on Sunday morning, so looking forward to that, and looking forward to getting back into the house of God. As I said, this week's kind of been a blur for me. Me and my family went up to Indianapolis and watched the national championship, and I'm so glad that it went our way this time, and the Dogs are national champions. And if you've been in service with us or been following us on Facebook, you've heard me say in the last couple of weeks that a lot of times I use different things that I see, different things that I hear, and I start thinking about those in a spiritual manner. And so this devotion tonight, it's not going to be very long. It's not going to be intense or anything like that. But hopefully you'll get something from it. There were several things that just God kind of put in my spirit leading up to the game on Monday night, and different things that happened during the game that I thought about, and I apply that stuff to my spiritual walk with God. So hopefully you'll get something out of this. And as we said in the caption there, we'd love for you to, like this devotional tonight. Go share it on your page, share it with your friends. Drop us a comment and let us know how you're doing. If you've got any prayer requests, any way that we can be praying for you as a church family, or just any thoughts you have on the message tonight. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Monday night going into the game, of course, Georgia had already played Alabama. That was the big narrative, is that a lot of people didn't want to see a rematch. And the reason is because Alabama had their way with us in Atlanta for the SEC championship game. And, this team had been told all year that this was our year. That's what all the fans had said. I said it plenty of times. I heard it from, the people in the media that said that they really felt like this was Georgia's year. And I know a lot of people, that they say that going into a new year like we are right here in January. They say, all right, I'm going to hit the reset button. I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to better myself. And this is my year. We are going to thrive. We are going to give it everything that we've got. As our theme this year is pursue 2022. I'm going to pursue God. I'm going to pursue joy. I'm going to pursue everything that I have put in front of me as goals and ambitions. I'm just going to give it everything I've got, completely commit. And that's what you should do. If you set goals, if you've got dreams, dive in and really get sunk down in, and not only do that, but do it with belief that you can get the job done. And that was one thing that we saw with the team this year, that this team believed in themselves. And when they got beat like they did in Alabama, some questions started to arise. When they got beat in Atlanta by Alabama, some questions started to arise around the program, around the same people that said that this was our year. They just started to feel like they started to doubt a little bit. And I began to think, about the children of Israel, as they were led out of Egypt by Moses, and they marched around for 40 years, much like Georgia. We marched around for 41 years before we finally got to the Promised Land, and we were close. We just kept on circling it, and finally we get right there on the cusp, just like those children of Israel, when they got to that land of Canaan, those scouts were sent out. And, they go into the land and they scout the land. They see all these, this amazing fruit, this plush, just beautiful land, and land that can be used, land where, they can really thrive. And, then they see these giants, and it freaks them all out. And so they come back, and, everybody was supposed to give a report of what they saw in the land. And, they come back and they say, oh, it's just as God told us, it's truly a land, flowing of, milk and honey, and, there's this plush fruit and all this stuff, but they're these giants, and we can't do it. We can't go into this land. That there's just no way. And so then there's Joshua and Caleb, and they come back and they say, you know what? Just like everybody else, we saw all this. We saw the giants, but, God has promised us this land. And we believe that since God has promised us this land, that we can go in there, we can overtake these giants. Because there's nothing that's going to stop us, because it's something that God has already promised us. And, and then the people begin to rise up. They begin to get all upset. And they actually said that they would have rather gone back to Egypt, back to slavery, than go into this land and fight these giants. And it's just crazy. And I feel like the same thing happened, with this team, is that, we went in to this game, and, we'd already been beat by Alabama. We'd already, faced, some adversity and things like that. And so the media and everybody else started kind of talking. They said, what, we got a great team, and this is what we want. This is what we've fought so hard for, but there's something standing in our way. And it's this big giant, of Alabama. Now, I want you to know that as much as the media talked, as much as even, some of the dog fans talked, and, people around the program, they talked about, we don't know if we can get it done. We just lost to them, back in December. I want you to know that we got some Joshuas and Calebs on that team. They never doubted. They knew they were good enough. They knew that, that's what they had fought so hard for all year. And that's what they had came for. And they played their hearts out. And I tell you what, they just, they really just took hold of what's theirs. And that's what I want to talk to us about tonight is, taking hold of what's ours. God has promised us that He's going to provide for us. He's going to give us, all our needs. But He also, told us that He would give us our heart's desire. Now, I know that there was a whole community, a whole state that was ready to see this happen. And, this was some people's heart's desire. So that's why it meant so much. A verse I want to read for you tonight is Isaiah 42. And 16, it says, I will lead the blind by a way they did not know. I will guide them on paths they have not known. I will turn darkness to light in front of them and rough places into level ground. This is what I will do for them, and I will not abandon them. Now, one thing I began to think about, with this team and this adversity is that, so many people said that we had the defense to win a national championship, but we couldn't do it without, with Stetson Bennett at quarterback. We could not, win a national championship with him, throwing the ball and under center. And I want you to know that this is a young man that he really looked adversity in the face and he just laughed. And he believed in himself. He said it several times after the game. They asked him, what was his mindset, going into the game. And he said that he told himself several times, he said, bet on yourself, believe on yourself. And I want you to know tonight that you might not, feel strong enough sometimes. You might not feel good enough. People might tell you that you're not good enough, but don't listen to all that. Bet on yourself. Believe on yourself, because you know what? You are wondrously and marvelously made, and and God's going to be right there with you, throughout the whole battle, and He believes in you, and God's got your back. He says that He's going to lead us in paths that we have not known. He will turn darkness into light, and in front of them He will turn rough places into level ground. And He says that I will not abandon them. I want you to know that God's never going to abandon you. He'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. And it's just so fitting that Stetson Bennett did struggle a little bit during that game. He had some bad throws. He didn't look comfortable. But towards the end of that game, he really stepped up. And he was the reason that that we ended up winning the game. And I begin to think about it says there in that verse, it says, I will lead the blind by a way they did not know. I will guide them on paths they have not known. So many times we've had amazing quarterbacks come through the University of Georgia. And we thought well, this is the guy that's going to get us there. This is the guy that's going to take us over the top. And then we've got Stetson Bennett, who a lot of people said, couldn't. And he ends up being the one that takes us over the top. And, we win this national championship with him. And I just begin to think that, people can talk all about, that, this is what we need. This is what we need. We're not going to do it if we don't have this. We can't do it if we don't have a person like this. And I want you to know that God can do anything. There's nothing that's impossible. If we've, got faith in God, He can do anything. And I want you to know that He'll use the person that you least think is qualified. He'll take that person and He'll do something great with them. And the reason that I feel like that He does that a lot of time in our lives is, in certain situations, is that He wants people to know that, He is strong enough and He is good enough. And, He wants to receive all the glory for it. So He's going to use somebody that, once the job is done, there's not going to be another explanation but God. That it was God and He did this incredible thing. And so that was one thing that I saw, in the game, that I was really happy for Stetson, happy, that he quieted the critics, that he got the job done, and that he, really played well in that fourth quarter and got us to where we all wanted to go, and that was that national championship victory. So the other thing that I begin to think of is that, the weakness of this team, going into the game, was said to be the secondary. Our cornerbacks and our safeties. Everybody, talked about how, that they were struggling, and that, that Alabama, passed the ball so well, and it was, of course, going to be our weakness going into the game. And I just thought it was very fitting that the way that we closed out the game and really put the lock on it is by an interception, from our secondary, and them taking it back for a touchdown. And I just thought that was very fitting. And I just know that as that was happening, and as I was thinking about it, on the way home, and just in the last few days, I got to thinking about that. God, He knows our weak spots. Satan, he knows our weak spots. And the thing about it is, Satan wants to attack our weakness. He wants to go right after it. He wants to expose you. He wants to confuse you and get you, wrapped up in something that you shouldn't be in. He wants those thoughts of doubt to be swimming in your head. And, he's going to attack that weakness. But God is aware of our weakness, and He wants to use that weakness in order for us to shine. And I want you to know that you don't have to worry or feel bad if you've got a weakness, because God can take that weakness and He can use it. I begin to think about Paul, and how Paul, talks about, in Corinthians, that, he was not somebody who was, well spoken. He didn't come to the people with all these big words and, all these fancy words and all this knowledge and all this, man, given wisdom and everything. All he had was what God gave him. He had the wisdom and the knowledge that God gave him. And I think that that's the reason that Paul was so successful, in his dealings with people, dealings with the church, his ministry, is because people saw themselves in Paul, and they saw how God used Paul in such a mighty way. And if you can see yourself in somebody like that that's doing great things for God, you begin to tell yourself, well, you know what? If they can do it, I can do it. And I want you to know that if you're asking yourself that tonight, am I able, to be used by God? I want you to know the answer to that is yes. Now begin to pray about how, God wants to use you, what your calling is. Begin to let Him lead you where He wants you, position you. But I want you to know, but if you'll really start to focus on that, if you'll pray for it, God's going to open up all kinds of possibilities to you. Now, I want us to go back, into the game, and I begin to think about, that when that fumble happened, well, they said it was a fumble. It didn't look like a fumble to me, but we won't go there. When it happened, Alabama got the ball, with really good, field position. They took it in for a touchdown, and I looked around, at the Georgia fans there in the stands, and, there was that feeling of, here we go again. We've been here before. We were so close, and then something like this happens that, is just completely crazy, and then we just fall apart from there. There's so many times that we let that happen in our spiritual walk with God that, we're doing good, we're doing what we're supposed to do, we're praying, we're reading our word, we're fasting, and all of a sudden this huge storm, comes up, or this big, roadblock, and we're like, I'm done. I've been here before, but I don't see a way out of this. I don't know how, I'm going to, come back from this. And, same thing, with the Georgia fans. They were like, I don't know, how we react to this. Well, I want you to know that there's one of two ways, that you can, either do this. Is that, you can either, sit there and feel defeated, or you can get up and you can, just go at it, head on. And, I'm so glad that we've got a team, that got up, man, and they really used that for fuel on the fire, I feel like, to play so hard, the rest of that fourth quarter and take what was theirs. And it began to, make me think about this verse in 2 Corinthians in verse 8 and 9. It says, we are afflicted in every way, but not crushed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. We are persecuted, but not abandoned. We are struck down, but not destroyed. Just like in Isaiah 42, we talked about that God will not abandon us. And this is exactly what this is talking about. Is, what? We are going to face affliction. We are going to be struck down. We are going to have times where we feel like that we've been destroyed, and that maybe the world's gotten the better of us, or life's gotten the better of us, or maybe even the devil's gotten the better of us. But you know what? It's not about how you fall. It's about how you get up. And, if you fall down 7 times, hey, get back up 7 times. Ready to go, ready to get back after it. And that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to continue to run this race, with everything that we've got, completely committed. And just know that, like I said, there's going to be times that you feel affliction. There's going to be times that you feel oppression. And it's not always going to come from people that you feel like that's your enemies. Sometimes it comes from the people that are right there closest to you. It comes from friends. I want you to know you got to block it all out. Block it all out and focus on God. Keep your eyes on Him, and keep on telling yourself that, you know what? God is with me. He is for me. He's not against me. And you know what? He's got my best interest in mind. And that's all going to be possible if we continue to seek after Him with everything that we've got. Just like it says, it says that, we have to decrease and He must increase within us. That's what I want. I want this to be less about me. This ministry, it's not about Levi Taylor. It's not about, me receiving fame. It's not about me receiving glory. It's about God receiving the fame and God receiving the glory. And that's what I always want to do, is I want to give God the glory in everything that I ever do. I want him to receive the praise that he deserves, because I don't deserve any praise. I'm nothing great, but I just want to be used by him in each and every way. And every day that I can, I want to tell somebody about how good my God is. And so that's a little devotional for the it goes along with the national championship there. Again, I'm so excited for our community and our football team that I love so much. The big question is, everybody's asked me, did I cry? Yes, I did. I did cry at the game. So did just about every other grown man and woman that was there. And it was something special. It's been something that we had waited a long time for. I want you to know that somebody asked me, they said, was it the greatest moment of your life? And I told them, I said no. I said it wasn't. I said, the greatest moments of my life were last year getting to baptize my daughter. That was one of the greatest moments of my life. Receiving the Holy Ghost. That was one of the greatest nights of my life, because those are the things that are going to allow me to be victorious spiritually, and that are going to allow my family to be victorious spiritually. And I want to see my family thrive. As much as I love Georgia football, you know what? At the end of the day, it really doesn't mean anything. I'm passionate about it. I do, show a lot of emotion in it. I get caught up in it. But you know what? I'm the same way when I worship. I'm the same way when I praise God. I'm the same way down at the altar. It's nothing for me to be down at the altar and the tears, to get the flowing. And I just love seeing, people that have maybe been struggling, people that, are fighting addiction, people that, maybe don't even know that there's a God that loves them. I love seeing them come into an atmosphere to where they can start to worship and praise God, and watching him do a work inside of them. And it's just incredible to see that. It's one of the most amazing things you'll ever see in your life is, somebody, coming back to God. And you know what? It says that, the angels, are rejoicing in heaven when just one comes back. When just one comes back home. And you know what? I rejoice with them, because that's what it's all about. It's saving lost souls and reaching as many people as we can. So thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate the ones that I've seen that have been watching. Thank you for the likes and the hearts, and like I said, we'd love for you to drop a comment down there. Let us know how you and your family are doing, and let us know your thoughts on the message tonight, or any prayer requests that you have. We want to be praying for you and your family, and of course, like I said, we're going to continue to pray for this community. Again, as I said before, this Sunday, Brother Eric Sisk is going to be preaching for us, and I know that he's going to have an anointed, on-time word for our church, and I'm just looking forward to it so much. So if you don't have a home church, come be with us this Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. Our address is 1244 Comer Road in Crawford, Georgia, and we would love to welcome you home to Mount Pleasant. And we're just so thankful for what God's doing in our church, and just extremely excited about it. So God bless each and every one of you. I hope you have an amazing rest of the week. God deserves all the praise and glory for everything, and we serve such a mighty God. So thank you for being with us tonight, and just don't forget to give thanks to God, give glory to Him. So I love each and every one of you. God bless you.